Greetings and welcome to the film school. I'm Joe, and I am flying solo tonight. Chris couldn't be here. So we're going to do a quick non-spoiler review of the upcoming Netflix film, The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Hello? Hey, my friend. I got that kid I was talking to you about here. I'm gonna put him on the phone and let you talk to him, okay?
Hello?
Is that Frank?
Yes.
Hiya, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you, too, even if it's over the phone. Our friend speaks very highly of you.
Thank you.
Only 3 people in the world have one of these. And only one of them is Irish.
I heard you paint houses.
No, please. No, please. Yes, I do, sir.
Where are you going?
Going to work.
Well, you know, there's a situation going on now, Frank. Big business and the government, they're trying to pull us down.
You might be demonstrating a failure to show appreciation.
I know things they don't know I know.
You can't miss the big picture.
Sooner or later. Get the gun out of his hand! Everybody put here as a date when he's gonna go.
You want to be a part of this fight? Would you like to be a part of this history?
Yes, I would. Whatever you need me to do, I'm available.
He likes to talk, don't he?
It's an amazing film. So right off the bat, I'm doing a non-spoiler review because, as I said before, Chris isn't here. We both got a chance to see this on the big screen during its limited run engagement, and we are going to do another follow-up episode that's a spoiler one, kind of like our Dr. Sleep, and we'll get LJ in on that because he's going to be watching it as soon as it drops on Netflix. So got to see this on the big screen, and it's an epic film. It's a solid 3.5 hours plus trailers, so it was about a 4-hour excursion, which is a great way to spend your afternoon. And I gotta say, right off the bat, I had slightly mixed feelings. I knew it was a great film, but I think after letting it sink in, and it's a film that stays with you, I have nothing but love for this movie. It is one of the best films I've seen all year. Definitely in my top 5, and I think Chris will be in agreement. In fact, we're probably going to do an episode before the end of the year of our top 10 or 20 picks of the year. But I digress. So this film is it's based on a book by Charles Brandt called I Heard You Paint Houses, which is basically a biography of the character Frank, what's his name? Frank Sheeran? Frank Sheeran, such an Irish name. He was an Irish-American guy here, played by Robert De Niro in the movie. He was a World War II vet who became a union delivery driver, meat products, who wound up getting involved with the mafia and becoming really close friends with Jimmy Hoffa. And like they say in the movie, most of you people probably won't know who Jimmy Hoffa was, but he was the head of the Teamsters for a time. And it's a really fascinating film that could be true. There are some elements of it that are still debated, but it's just an amazing journey, and it kind of bookends a sort of loosely connected trilogy of Scorsese's: Goodfellas, Casino, and now The Irishman. Very similar themes, of course, a lot of the same actors, De Niro and Pesci, and they usually take place within the 50s and 60s for the bulk of the story, although this like Goodfellas, spans several decades. We get to see a young 30-ish Robert De Niro well into a 70s something Robert De Niro, or maybe it's Maybe it's no, he was in his 70s. That's right. Frank was in his 70s, or maybe he was in his 80s when he died in 2003. The real Frank Sheeran. But they use the CGI de-aging process in this, and at first don't look too closely because then you can kind of see it. But the more this film is, it's chronological but non-chronological at the same time. And the less you tend to forget about it, it plays really well. Robert De Niro did a fantastic job and a really, really kind of restrained performance. Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa was really good. Perfect actor to play Jimmy Hoffa. And the gem of the film for me, though, was Joe Pesci, who gave a really restrained performance. If you're familiar with him in other Scorsese films like Raging Bull, Goodfellas, and Casino, you know he doesn't really give a restrained performance. But here in this film, he had sort of a quiet intimidation, and he was very soft-spoken, very well-spoken, and almost likable. And just every moment he's on the screen is just sort of electrifying. Just all three of these actors, plus you throw Harvey Keitel into the mix, even Ray Romano, Anna Paquin, even Jesse Plemons, like everybody in this film did a fantastic job. 3.5 hours, it's a masterpiece, which I think is very awesome for Scorsese to have a career this long and to be turning out films that are this good. And he's got an incredible filmography. I'm a fan of most of his films, and even the ones I'm not a big fan of, I don't hate. So I would actually, I'd probably give this a solid 4 out of 4 stars. And I'd recommend that if you get a chance to see it on the big screen before it's on Netflix, I would wholeheartedly recommend that. But if you decide to wait till Netflix, I'm still going to recommend no bathroom breaks. Yeah, LJ's going to wait for Netflix. Couldn't get him to come with us to the theater. I would still recommend watching it on Netflix. No bathroom breaks, no pauses. Just let it flow. The cinematography by Rodrigo Prieto, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, forgive. It's just beautiful. It's just beautifully shot. It's very lush and elegant. He's the gentleman who also shot The Wolf of Wall Street in silence for Scorsese. Oddly enough, too, and maybe this is because this film, so each one, like I was talking about the loose sort of trilogy between Goodfellas, Casino, and this. The reason I don't count Gangs of New York is just simply because of the era that it takes place. This is more consistent with the other two. But this is a more meditative film, almost mournful, and less glamorous in its violence. It's actually, I mean, it is violent. It's a Scorsese gangster movie. It's going to be violent, but compared to the other two films, Goodfellas and Casino, it's actually more restrained, kind of like Jackie Brown to Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, you know. And it's definitely a more mature film. I mean, Scorsese's in his 70s, you know, so he's had some life and perspective, and it's a very moving film, but it also has a lot of humor, too. A lot of people forget Scorsese's a really funny guy, and he's really adept at comedy, and I don't think he gets the recognition for comedy that he should. I mean, if you've seen After Hours, then you know what I'm talking about. But this was also edited by Scorsese's longtime editor, Thelma Shoemaker, who did one of his earliest films, Who's That Knocking Out My Door, with Harvey Keitel. And then from Raging Bull on, she has been his consistent editor. And the editing of this movie, the pace, the timing, everything just works. Just do yourself a favor and go see this movie. I highly recommend it. So that's basically my 2 cents. So please, as always, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. I hope you find this helpful in making a decision to go see this movie or watch it on Netflix, because you're going to. You just got to see this. The entire audience I saw it with just loved this movie. It's an awesome cathartic experience from a master filmmaker. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Damn. It's such a good movie.